This is the Wealth Junkies Show. I'm Brandon Dukeman here with Will Harvey, and thanks for joining us today. Before we get started, don't forget to subscribe to our show so that you're not missing any of our daily episodes, and to rate and leave us a comment so that we know how we're doing. Also, join us on Facebook at facebook.com/groups/Wealth Junkies. And with that, I'm going to toss it right over to Will to introduce our guests for today.
Thanks so much, Brandon. Really appreciate it. Today, we have on the show John Rubino. I've known him about a year now. He's an awesome guy. He is a 20-year veteran in the Navy, and he's been in real estate since 2005. In 2013, he started his current company called JID Investments, and as of right now, they have $6.5 million in deals completed, $12.5 million currently that they are managing, and $2.5 million in revenue. So he's done some awesome stuff. And John, with that, can you just give the listeners a little bit more about your background and how you got to where you are today?
I sure can, Brandon and Will. Thanks for having me. It's great to be here. I enjoy speaking with you guys. I'm looking forward to it. Started real estate back in 2005, like you alluded to. I did 20 years in the Navy. I was a pilot. Did real estate, for a bit on the side there. Had some fun down in St. Mary's County, down in Maryland. Before the recession kicked in, I kind of got into it, started to learn about it on the active side. And then for probably about a good 10 years, I invested passively with some friends that were doing development and construction. And that got my arms around understanding how to look at deals, how to underwrite deals, how to look at the capital stack, kind of understanding the numbers and seeing if they were viable opportunities, which they were. And so over about a 10-year period, I was getting a 10% rate of return on my money per year, and which was great. And I was still working full time with the Navy. And so that got me kind of started. Moved back to DC back in 2011, 2012. I was working on the Navy staff right outside the Pentagon. Had a full-time job, which was important because as I started getting closer to what I knew was coming, which was retirement, I wanted to get ready to, prepare for the next chapter. And, real estate has been a passion my whole life. I love it. I love it. It puts me around people. It puts me around opportunities that I enjoy. And I said, you know what, I want to do what I did passively, and I want to bring in other people that have the opportunity to see some of the deals that I saw through people that I knew, people I work with. And it just so happened a lot of these folks had grown and needed capital for their deals. And so I became a syndicator. I became a syndication company. And I started raising money privately through friends and family. It started, and then through private investors, accredited investors. And to date, we've grown to a company over a short 6.5-year period of $12 million under management on 5 projects. We have completed 15 projects, a little over $6.5 million in investment, 126 investors, and we're growing, we're scaling. I'm doing it full time now. My business partner is my accountant. He's also the CFO of the company. He's down in Hilton Head. So together we've handled the investment relations side to bring on new people to work with us, looking for and then working with new sponsors that need our capital. And to be honest, where we add value is we bring in a level of capital, private money and equity to our sponsors that puts us in a category that we feel we're not a lot of competition, and it's unique. It's not institutional equity. It's kind of private money at about $100,000 to $5 million a deal that we can go out and raise through our network of investors. So having fun, enjoying myself,
awesome.
Sharing the gifts that God's given me, and we're having a ball.
I love that. So what did you do did you always want to get into the military?
Yeah, I mean, listen,
Okay.
I've been in the military for 20 years, but I went to military high school. I went to military college.
Oh, wow.
So
It's in your blood
it's
there.
been in my blood, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had 5 cousins that graduated from a high school that I wanted to go to. I'm from New York originally, and
That's why you talk so
it was
fast.
great. Yeah, I know I got to slow down. But
No,
then
you're good.
then Top Gun came out, and it was a no-brainer. So
Oh, that's awesome.
yeah. So I've always wanted to serve my country, and the military has been
Well, yeah, thank you for your
wonderful gift.
service.
Thanks. Appreciate you having me, sir.
Yeah, sure. So when you were doing that, what eventually led to you wanting to try out real estate and kind of dabble in that? You mentioned that you did it before the crash too, so wasn't the best
Yeah.
timing.
Yeah. Well, to be honest, I had a mentor that started
Okay.
himself back in the early 2000s, and we've just been best of friends. We served together in the Navy, and we were on a detachment together on a trip with our squadron in New Orleans for like 8 weeks, and we were just hanging out. And he kind of said, "Hey, why don't you come learn a little bit about this stuff called real estate?" And I said, "Okay." And the next thing you know, I was just hooked. And he really helped me get started. So I guess one of the things I can make a recommendation to for your listeners is always have a mentor, if not 100 or 10 or how many you feel comfortable with, who can help you in your journey as you start to learn more. Listening to podcasts, talking to people, but really having that kind of circle of trust of people that you can go out to reach out to at any given time and help you. So I was just blessed to have a guy that really had a vision to grow himself through real estate, and I was able to help him financially.
Mm-hmm.
And as he grew, I grew, and eventually he's now a $400 million development and construction company. And I've
No
invested
kidding.
in
Wow.
7 to 8 of his deals, and we've had a lot of success. And he kind of treats me, as a family. So to have someone like that I can invest with and that I can trust, has my back, and is also teaching me as he grows is immeasurable.
Yeah, that's huge.
That was, yeah, to have that connection and trust in somebody to, when you're doing your investments, that's a lot of money.
Yep.
So when you started off, was it single family real estate, or you kind of
Yep.
talk about what some of the deals were that you were looking at?
Flips, rentals. What
Yeah.
was it?
Listen, my approach to anything in life is crawl, walk, and run. So, we started in a crawl mentality. We stood the business up. We took a full year to get the business up and running. We didn't want to launch, and then kind of find out, oh man, we should have did this, this, and this. We did everything by the book. We got the LLC up and running. We got our websites up and running. And then when we got done with everything, we felt good and we felt cocky, like we were ready to go. We went out to probably about 3 or 4 people that were very, very close friends, family, that had numerous years in banking and mortgage lending and real estate, and they kicked the crap out of us, which was great.
Just with questions?
Just questions,
Okay.
improving our process. Why aren't you thinking of this? You got to think of that. Your investors are going to ask you this. The banks are going to ask you that. So it was like, wow, okay. So when we got everything back from them after they kicked our butts, one of the things they said was, make sure that when you guys are ready for investors to join you, you give us a call. So that was a great compliment.
That's cool.
Yeah, it was a great compliment. But we started small. We went after single family renovations, bringing in anywhere from, I'd say, $100,000 to $200,000 a deal, fully funding the project, maybe up to about 85% of the total cost for the deal. The investor who was using our money, the borrower, let's say, was bringing in 10 to 15% of their own money. And yeah, we were off and running. We were collecting fees anywhere from 15 to 20% over 6 months. And we're paying out to our investors, anywhere from 15 to 20% a year on their money. So they like that.
Pretty dang good.
Yeah, we were
That's
recycling
awesome.
the money pretty quickly.
Yeah.
That's better than that
6 months.
0.001%
Yeah,
sitting in the bank account.
Right.
Yeah, but that was kind of, the crawl phase. And then the walk phase has been really now working with large scale developers, commercial real estate, mixed use, where we could bring in, $500,000 to $5 million a project. And that's opened up a bigger, thinking mindset that you have to put in place, the legal side of it, the structure side of it, how to approach the sponsors, how to look at the big picture of the deal. It's a lot easier looking at underwriting a single family than looking at a $100 million mixed use commercial deal in Washington, D.C. So it's like night and day.
Right. Yeah, that's right. So when you were, you said that those guys kicked the crap out of you with questions and just pointing out things that you need to know about. How did you, I get that your background, you had invested in some deals as a limited partner. So I'm sure that helped you and you had a leg up as opposed to somebody who's brand new to all that. But how did you, when they posed all those questions, what did you do to get the answers, to find the knowledge and basically be able to answer those questions?
Well, the first thing is I have a partner that's pretty smart guy.
Okay.
He's an accountant and he's also got a business background and he's now our CFO. So to have someone like that who it's nice having someone you bounce off questions to, you bounce off the answers to. So when we spoke with those gentlemen and they were, beating the crap out of us, we David, my partner, and I sat back and we said, all right, let's look at these things to make sure we can implement them into our business and see where they fit to meet what we need for our company and how to make us, be in a position to, thrive through the company. So we looked at everything that they provided as suggestions and recommendations that just made us better. Then
That's awesome.
the networking people in the industry, again, going back to mentors who are experienced, who have that understanding of that mindset, helped immensely. And look, I'm growing every day. I'm learning every day. I'm understanding every day. I'm just, I'm never saying I'm not learning. I want to make sure that
Right.
I'm always learning from people that are smarter than I am, because it just makes me better.
That's it. Surround yourself with people smarter than you. That's been my motto my whole life.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
It'll make you better. So
yeah.
Initially you said you started reaching out to friends and family for raising money. What was kind of your pitch to them to get them to trust you with their money?
That's a great question. You have to know how to talk to investors. You got to know what you do that makes you better than others, where you add value. For the sponsors we work with, again, we bring in a level of capital that allows them to do more with their own money. So instead of bringing in 80%, they're bringing in 20% or 10%. That allows them to go out and do more projects. As far as the investors, that's where I enjoy this business, because I get to sit down with them. I get to walk through our process with them. We kind of, we don't handhold them, but we do if we need to. We make sure that we're fully transparent with the information we have on our company. We want our investors and people that are interested in investing with us to basically understand our strategy, our concepts, how we operate, look at some previous deals, heck, come out to meet with me and walk some of our properties we're doing now. To make them feel comfortable just to become an investor. But there's no requirement or obligation for them to invest with us until they see a deal that they want to invest in. And that's where my partner and I, David, we do the due diligence. We do the research and analysis, market overviews, and assessments of all the deals. And when they meet the criteria, then we bring them forward to our investors to potentially invest. And we're investing as well. We're bringing in our own money. Developers have to have a certain amount of money. So it's very risky what we do, for the mindset that the biggest challenge or the biggest liability could be that they lose their money. Mm-hmm. So we always have to be honest with them. So we kind of look at deals and say, how do we protect our money first? And the returns are kind of there. We know what we want to hit for our returns, but the most important thing for our investors is, how do you protect my money? And that's mitigating risk. That is identifying ways to secure the capital through collateral, what we're not exposed to, like bank liability. So these are all the different things that we bring up, and then we show them through incentives how our program works for them. We bring in our own money. We don't collect any management fees. We give the investors preferred interest rate. We make sure they're paid before we get paid. So these are the different things we help them to get through with the struggle that there is the potential of losing your capital.
Right. Yeah, it sounds like all you're doing is building the trust with showing them your knowledge and expertise in the field, and
and educating.
Yeah.
I mean, that's like that's the biggest.
That's a good point. You got to educate, you got to communicate, and you got to make sure that they're up to speed on that, because you got to bring them into your world, right? You got to be able to explain to them, depending on who you're meeting with, if it's somebody brand new or it's somebody that's got experience, you want to walk them through the process to educate them, and then kind of bring them into the process so they know how to do it.
Right. The very first investor that said, John, I trust you. Here's 50,000 or 100,000, whatever it was. Tell us what that was like. I'm sure you remember it. I remember the first investor that I brought on, and it felt good. So tell us what that was like.
Yeah, I mean, it was two guys that I worked with in the Navy. We were all friends. We were pilots together, and they knew what we were doing. I kind of had them kind of available to work with us. And when we had our first deal, we pitched it to them, and we were starting to get capital together for what we were doing. We were all excited. We're like, oh,
that's
wow,
awesome.
This is our first deal. This is a guy I work with. This is a guy I know. This is kind of how we, how we operate with this person. And we brought in $200,000, and it was a great opportunity to make 25% on that in
No kidding.
4 months. And I think when you start showing proof of concept to your investors and show them, hey, look, I'm not just telling you what we're doing, I'm showing you what we're doing. That is huge. Track record, proof of concept performance is huge. But yeah, it was exciting. It was exciting raising that money. It was exciting putting that all together. And then, obviously a little nervous because you want to make sure you do it right. And then just keeping them informed throughout the process. We do that with our investors, quarterly updates. We take them out to the projects. We show them around and, give them what they need.
That's awesome. So where were you finding some of these deals in the beginning to present to your investors?
No, it was really just word of mouth, talking to people I knew in the industry, people that I worked with in the Navy. It's interesting because people in the military are very entrepreneurial, and a lot of them were doing fix and flips and renovations. And then I had my buddy that I mentioned that was in need of capital. And then, we took that as the first part, right? Like, who do we know that's doing this? And then how do we go out and meet new people that are doing this that we can partner with? So one of the things we do is when we talk with new sponsors, new businesses, new companies that need our money or want our funding, we get to know them by doing what we call company due diligence. We go out, meet them, we go meet their team, make sure that we know who they are. And then we start, hey, what kind of projects are you doing? What's your locations? How experienced are you? What have you done? Can you show me a full cycle deal? And then we start going into, hey, here's what we provide. Here's our service. Here's our parameters. So we want to make sure there's a good fit. We want to make sure that we understand them, they understand us before we even look at a project. Now, of course, that doesn't always happen, but that's kind of how we approach it. Look at their financials. We look at their performance. We make sure that, again, they're a good fit for us and we're a good fit for them.
Yeah, and you're in a unique spot. Just to explain to the listeners kind of how you operate. John is in a spot where he's not the direct sponsor. He's not the developer that's finding the deal and negotiating it and doing all of that. He's essentially in the middle where he adds value to both the developer or sponsor, depending on the deal, and then also the investors that are brought in. And you essentially, what you can do if a sponsor or developer is out there and they're raising money, it's a lot easier to go to a guy like you where you can say, hey, I can bring in $1 million or $5 million, and you, Mr. Developer, you won't have to go out and raise money from individual people at $100,000 chunks.
Yep.
That saves them so much time and headache. And as for the investor, the value you bring them is just your knowledge and experience with vetting the sponsors, because as we know, deals go bad. So you basically take it upon yourself to due diligence on the sponsor, make sure that they don't have any criminal background, make sure they've never been arrested for fraud or whatever it may be. And like you just alluded to. So that's very cool. You're in a unique spot.
Yeah, it's exactly what we do. And we bring the deal to the investors and the investors to the deal. So, the way you capture that, Will, adapt is exactly what we pride ourselves on. And to be honest, we look at it as a team effort, right? We all want to succeed. We want the sponsor to succeed. We want to exceed. We want our investors to succeed. So everybody's a team. There's no, stump the chump, or we don't try to do anything covertly. Everything is in the open. We're transparent. And to be honest with you, a lot of our investors, when they're helping, when they're not helping us, but when they're going through the paperwork and the documents and they're looking at what we send out, a lot of the feedback questions we get are fantastic. And sometimes we even add some of that into our documents just to make sure that, we're covering everything. So it's not, we're not the know-it-all, be-it-alls. We just try our best to partner with good people and good businesses. But at the same time, the investors are kind of, they're our business colleagues. They're our associates on the deal.
Yeah.
We're not doing this all by ourselves.
That's right. What are some things that you see that would make you not want to work with a sponsor?
Well, you just brought up some of the obvious things, if there's
right
there and there's not an understanding, receptivity, or I don't know if that's a good word, but just being able to go back and forth. If I need information and there's delays in the information, fabricated numbers or numbers that just don't make sense versus what the market is doing. Exit strategies that I'm not comfortable with, where they can't answer my questions, where I say, hey, I stress tested your model at 25%. why isn't this working? So that's kind of the big ones.
Got it. That makes sense.
Yeah.
So what's kind of name or describe something, a challenge or kind of horror story of either getting started in this business or kind of a deal that you guys have encountered?
Yeah, I mean, I had one deal that obviously didn't go as projected. We had to take ownership of the project, and unfortunately,
So you had to foreclose on
yeah.
the.
Well, we didn't have
Got
to
it.
foreclose. We actually did a quick claim deed, and they actually took ownership. We took ownership of the property through the deed, and the individual couldn't finish up, and we sold the property for 96% of what we bought it for and invested in it for. And then, just working with the borrower, trying to bring him to light that, look, this is not the way we've agreed to doing things.
Mm-hmm.
And so,
Yeah.
we need to make sure that we do this in a way that we both have respect for each other. So we were able to get, I'd say, about 60 to 65% of the money he owed us on that back. So that was a huge learning experience for us.
So in the end, it ended up making some money.
Yeah, we made money. We didn't lose
Oh,
money. We haven't lost money on any of our deals, but
That's awesome.
the headache of driving out to the property 3, 4, 5 days a week, you're talking 2 hours away. You're basically starting from scratch. I had to go out and get the contractors. I had to go out. So that's not what I do. I raise money, but I need to understand that. And so one of the, I think you guys will ask me my favorite quote. My favorite quote is, success is not hard to define. It's just learning from failure and getting back up and doing it again. Colin Powell, fantastic, quote.
That's so good.
Where, it's not difficult success, but you got to learn from your failures. You can't be afraid to fail. We don't want to fail, but if we do, we got to learn from it.
Yeah, it's going to happen.
It's going to happen. And you just got to prepare for everything, but just expect the unknown and try your best to handle it. So that's the big takeaway from there.
That's great. In hindsight, what was one thing looking back, hindsight's 2020.
Sure.
One thing looking back that maybe you shouldn't have done that deal in the first place.
Not give him all the money up front, set up draw schedules. These are easy things that I should have known. But again, we were working with a guy we had done a few deals with. They went really well. And you kind of get into that, hey, everything's going to go great. There's going to be no failure. Yeah, I'll give you the full 200,000. We should have set a cost. I didn't go to the project site beforehand. I just looked at his pictures. His numbers were all fabricated. So these were the things that were like, all right, next time we need to just slow down, regardless of who it is, and make sure we do what we're supposed to do in a way that, we feel we've done everything we need to do properly.
Yeah. And I'm sure that, I know your reputation. You have a very, very awesome high reputation in around the DC area. I'm sure you communicated with all the people involved in that deal, all your investors, and at the end of the day, you never went dark on anyone, and I'm sure that's why you never lost any traction there.
Again, we were on it together. Our company, David and I, put up all the additional monies needed to fix up the properties. We didn't have any capital calls. We just did everything on our own, but at the same time, every week we did a call. Every couple of days, we would get a call with the investors to make sure that they knew. And look, you're going to have ups and you're going to have downs. And you can't be afraid to share both sides.
Yeah. And just you kind of grabbing the wheel, taking ownership and being like, I got this, I'm going to make this right. That's so key and so important. So many people out there just want to throw their hands up and blame other people or whatever. So that's cool. That's a valuable lesson.
Yep.
So tell us about one of the best deals that you got
So those have been more often, which is good.
That's awesome.
We did and I'm looking at a rendering of it right now. I wish I can go and grab it and show you guys. But it was a 20 unit ground up new construction in Northwest DC in Columbia Heights, off of 15th Street Northwest. We brought in $750,000, and in 33 months, we earned back $637,000 on the $750,000.
That is unreal.
It was a fantastic return. I mean, you're talking 1.9, almost 2.0x on that, and investors were ecstatic. They made.
How long was How long was it cradle to grave?
It was about 33 months. It was only supposed to be 24 months, but in DC we have this thing called weather that's real bad sometimes, and we had some really nasty snowstorms. MGM, which is MGM just stood up a casino a few years back down at the National Harbor, and they stole one of the only 3 concrete companies in all of DC. So that delayed us quite a bit. Yeah, with all the weather, we had power outages. So it went an additional 8 months. But the good news is that we kept the IRR, actually beat the IRR we projected over 24 months. The investors actually made more money than what they anticipated, which was great.
Wow.
That's huge.
So that's
great.
That
sounds like a home run.
Yeah, that was a home run. We're pretty happy with that.
So are the investments fairly local to DC, or what's kind of your target markets?
Yeah, I would say about 70-80% of the deals we're doing are in the Washington, D.C. MSA. We also are doing deals down in Atlanta, Carolinas. We're looking at Tennessee, Texas, Georgia proper, Florida, Tech. So, we're not afraid to go into other markets. The big thing is the experience of the sponsor, the boots on the ground, who's there, who's going to run it for you, who's the management team. So those are the big things that we're looking at when we look at that stuff.
Yeah, that's awesome. And then I know that you stepped into onto our turf a little bit. You did some multifamily projects. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, we're doing a multifamily project down in the Carolinas. One is in Wilmington and one is in Greenville. And we are, it's kind of the same sponsor. We brought in about $500,000 of equity, cash flowing at about 7 to 8% a year with a 3-year horizon. Nice. Investors are making the cash flow, pure cash flow for the investors.
Love it.
The IRR, when we finish, to bump them up to about 11.5, but we're giving them a 10% preferred interest rate. Wow. So they'll make 7 to 8% plus an additional 2 a year, and then anything above and beyond will get them to about 11.5 before the company makes any money.
Okay.
And how many units are those total?
About 310 units, 160 in the Wilmington property, 150 in the Greenville property. And yeah, we same sponsor, same management company, paying out quarterly distributions at about 1 3/4 to 2%. And great little project. Yeah, it's our first multifamily, and I'm looking at 3 right now, so it's exciting because we're looking at one in Atlanta, one in Raleigh, and one in Chapel Hill. So
those are all multifamily?
All multifamily, yeah.
And are you shifting your focus a little bit into multifamily just because of where we are in the cycle?
Yeah, we are. Okay. We're trying to do more value add, more core plus, let's say. Storage, multifamily, senior assisted. Just want to diversify things a bit, given where we're at in this cycle, and to balance out the portfolio a little bit.
Yeah, because those tend to be a little bit more recession resistant compared to, say, developments or anything like that. So yeah. Is that right?
Exactly. Yeah, they are. And look, there's things on the horizon. I'd say it's not panic worthy, but it is definitely raising an eyebrow worthy. We have an election next year, which is going to be interesting to say the least.
Yes.
But things could happen with the way the economy's going. The economy's great right now, but you always want to anticipate what's going to happen in the next 12 to 24 months.
That's awesome. So beyond that, what's next for JID Investments?
We're just going to continue to grow. We're going to continue to look at deals. We're going to do things at a pace we're comfortable with, kind of from a deal perspective. We want to grow with new investors. We want to have folks that are available to look at our deals, that want to come on board and work with us and invest. And then obviously we want to start identifying skill and talent to bring on board to help us in areas that we want to grow the business. We just brought a due diligence consultant on who's a Fairfax County Public School teacher, but he's also got experience working with Cushman and Wakefield. So he's going to be our due diligence consultant. So now we'll have somebody we can go to help us with due diligence. I want to look for a project investment guy that can go out and find, or gal to find, new investors for us. Project relations person, marketing and advertising. We're actually looking at working on a new investment platform. So we're going to start doing everything now, hopefully on platforms that investors can go and utilize. So
that's
definitely
awesome.
Growing, vertically and horizontally with the business. And,
yeah.
Excited, very excited.
That's exciting.
So
Yeah.
quick question. How are you locating investors? Are you going to meetups? Are you advertising online what you're doing?
All the above,
Yeah.
Brendan. We're organically doing it. We're beating the street, meeting with people face to face. Referrals. A lot of our investors are referring us new business. Networking groups. Will and I go to a group in the local area called Network Exchange Community. So I go to that twice a month. I go to events where I speak. I'm actually speaking at an event in November. There's 100 people coming out, which is great. Go to like the Opal workshops and conferences, IMF. And then, yeah, trying to talk with other people that can open the door for us, registered investment advisors, family offices. So all the
Nice.
above. LinkedIn's huge.
Yeah.
Great.
So you get out from behind the desk. That's
Yeah,
you don't
you
make
have
money
to.
behind the desk. You can't raise money
No,
or find a deal behind,
it's a
it's not
nice
going to come to you.
balance. You got to do it. It's a nice balance. There's times you need to be behind the computer to work, but then
Sure.
you got to be out in the street and talking to people and getting your name out there, like you said.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah. Well, John, we're going to jump into our moments of truth section here. It's the same 7 questions that we ask all our guests. And I'm
Okay.
going to kick it off with the first one. Who is your success role model?
Oh man, Robert Kiyosaki's fantastic. I've been really getting into his books, and I think that Robert should be teaching. He should have his own university. There should
I
be a Rich
totally
Dad
agree.
Poor Dad university, because kids today, young adults, I got the cash flow game. I'm looking at it right now. He's just amazing on what he does, and just the ability to be able to share that, not only for growing your business, but also growing yourself personally with the right people. And I'm a big fan of Grant Cardone. I think he's another great guy. So those
Yeah.
two would be the two right now that are
Yeah.
motivating me.
Those
Love
are
it.
2 movers and shakers.
Yeah.
Have you, so yeah, I assume you've read Rich Dad Poor Dad. Have you read his new book called Fake?
I haven't read Fake. I've read Cash Flow. I'm reading Rich Dad's Guide to Investing. I got the Cash
Okay.
Flow game, but yeah, I'll have to write that one down. That's good.
Fake it blew my mind.
Cool.
It's crazy. Yeah.
All right.
Recommend that.
Another book on the list. I like it.
Yeah. Next question. What is your biggest success?
My biggest success is taking what the good Lord has given me and just really sharing it, taking it to another level, and just really expanding it to the best of my ability. And that would be a broad sense. But the fact now that we're doing deals in the multi-million-dollar capitalization range, where we're bringing in $3, $4, $5 million a project, is exciting. Right now, I would say the biggest success is our project down at Buzzard Point in Southwest DC, right by Alley Field. We're doing 110 condos, 8 stories with mixed-use retail and an opportunity zone. I mean, that's all the above, and it's right on the Anacostia River. So that, to me, is our largest success right now. But yeah, just being able to take the blessings I have and give thanks, and then at the same time share that with people that want to be part of what I'm doing.
Yeah, I love that. Just being, the fact that you're a believer. I know we kind of hit it off because of that.
Absolutely.
No, that's cool.
Absolutely.
So, John, what does a typical day for you look like?
Oh man, I get up, take my 2 kids to school. They go to high school, so I'm up by about 6 o'clock, 6:30. Come back, grab a cup of coffee, say my prayers, read some scripture, and then I'm on the computer answering emails, taking calls, doing meetings, and then if we have things scheduled, whether it's networking events, meeting with individuals or businesses, going out to project sites, meeting with investors to take them for tours, all the above. So today I have talking with you guys now. I got 4 more calls today. I got a podcast tonight. I'm listening to an investment seminar with Neil Boa, who you probably know.
Boa, yeah. I just met him recently.
Yeah, we got a project we're looking at with them down in Atlanta. So today will be
that's a great dude to have a project with.
Yeah, I'm excited to work with Neil.
He's pretty impressive.
Really good. Yep.
He's how I learned about the virtual assistants and all that. He's a machine with that stuff.
I heard that guy speak at an event in Dallas, Texas, and he's just on a whole nother level with the technology. It's insane. It's incredible to hear him.
He's a great guy. A couple other guys I've talked with, Joe Fairless before, Whitney Sewell. So these are great guys that, again, those are the people you want to talk to in this industry, because they're leaders. They're growing. They're smart people. When I look at a package that Neil sends out versus a package I just got the other day in, let's say, Portsmouth, Virginia, and I look at the two and I'm like, geez, I need to be spoiled and get those packages Neil sent.
Right.
They're the packages I want to see, and that's the detail. So give some kudos to Neil on the podcast today.
Yeah, exactly.
And
I love it.
You brought up Joe Fairless and Whitney Sewell. Those are the two individuals that really inspired me, at least, to force Will into doing the daily show versus a weekly episode, because Joe and Whitney both do a daily real estate podcast. And
I've been on both of their shows.
I was like, Brandon, can't we just do weekly? Weekly is plenty.
I've been on both their shows.
But here we are.
And they're great guys. They're great guys.
Yeah.
Blessed to be able to speak with them too. Yeah.
That's right. I know you kind of went over it already a little while ago, but what is your favorite quote?
Yeah, like I said, Colin Powell, success is defined as it's not easy to or it's not difficult to define. It's just a lot of hard work and dedication and learning from your failures. Yeah.
Awesome. So just learn, look back, and move forward.
Always learning, right? When we were kids, I think we remember the bad grades we got in school versus the good ones, right? Because those are the ones we got yelled at or punished.
Those are the ones you don't want to get your butt whooped when you come home.
Yeah, exactly, Brandon, exactly.
That's right.
So what are some of your hobbies?
I love coaching baseball for my boys. I have 3 boys and a daughter. My daughter's 15, and then I got 3 boys. Football, going out and watching my kids play sports, just watching them grow. Kind of trying to get them ready for life in general. Very much part of our parish church community and serving. And then I love getting out and playing golf, smoking a cigar, and drinking a glass of bourbon. So
I love
those are good hobbies. Yeah.
It's something you can do a lot of when you're in real estate. People like to get out on the course.
I like to get on the course. That's right. Just make sure you don't play better than they do, and you're good to go.
Exactly.
I don't think I'll have that problem ever. So
no, I won't either. What's the best business book that you've read?
Oh man, that's a good one. I guess Rich Dad Poor Dad. It's the Bible.
Mm-hmm.
Reading Robert and just taking it all in and listening to him speak and listen to his words are great. To me, those are great books. But I've read Donald Trump's Art of the Deal. I tell you the other good books I've read, and I just real quickly, How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. Fantastic book.
Yeah.
And then obviously The Millionaire Next Door.
Okay.
Really, really good books.
That's
not an avid reader.
Gary Keller, is that?
Yes, I believe.
Oh, is it? Okay.
It might be. Yeah, I'd have to look back, but
yeah.
But no, I'm not an avid reader. I get bored of books really quickly, but if it's a book that keeps me on my toes, like as a kid, I loved Stephen King. I couldn't put a book down.
Nice.
But the financial books like Robert Grant and I'm telling you, the How to Win Friends and Influence People is an amazing, amazing book. It tells you how to treat people and talk to people. And, it's all about helping people. A lot of times people look at people and they see money signs in their eyes.
Mm-hmm.
At the end of the day, it's like, hey, how can I help this individual? What can I do either directly through what I can provide through business or indirectly through referrals? I think that's what it's all about. Relationships and reputation are so important.
That's it. I love it.
And last question here, John, if there's one key piece of advice you could leave our listeners with about achieving success, what do you think it would be?
Keep your full-time job when you're getting started, making sure you have stability and do something like this part-time. I did it while I was in the Navy. I took my bumps and bruises for 4 years, and it gave me the confidence when I retired from the Navy to step out. Have mentors. Don't be afraid to talk to people who are smarter than you. If you're going to start a business, have at least one partner that you can go to, that you can work with and you can trust. Those are probably the 2 biggest things I can mention. There's other things too, but to me, those are really important. And when you start a business, always start with, where am I going to add value to the people that I want to work with? And if you have that value statement, Simon Sinek's, Power of Why, the Golden Triangle. What's your why, man? What's your why? Why do people like, Brandon Dukeman or Will Harvey or John Rubino? What makes them different? And I think if you can help people understand that, they are going to want to be working with you, investing with you, partnering with you on anything you bring forward.
Yeah, that's so good. His Simon Sinek's TED Talk about that, the lead with why. It's awesome. You guys can find it on YouTube.
Yeah.
Totally agree. That's awesome. So John, how can our listeners get in contact with you? If I know you said you're looking for a few employees and some other
investors, of course.
Absolutely. Our website is www.jidinvestments.com. That's probably the best place to go. You can also find me on LinkedIn. My email is my first initial J, my last name Rubino @jidinvestments.com. But listen, I mean, you guys can share my info. I'm happy to talk with anyone, whether it's somebody who's starting, advice, somebody that needs some resources, and anybody that's interested in talking more about what we're doing. We're happy to help.
That's great. Appreciate that.
Awesome. Well, John, we appreciate you being on the show today.
Thanks, guys.
That's a lot of value. You're pretty intelligent, man. That's awesome.
I appreciate that.
And for our listeners, feel free to reach out to them if you got questions. Like you said, when our interviewees tell you guys, that they love to talk to people, they're not just saying it just to say it. They actually mean it, and they want to help people. So feel free to reach out to any of our guests, and also subscribe to the show so that you're not missing any of our daily episodes and any of our daily guests. And also join us on Facebook at facebook.com/groups/wealthjunkies. John, we appreciate you being on today.
Thanks, guys.
Thank
God
you,
bless.
John.
I appreciate it.
Yep. See everyone tomorrow.
Take care.